Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Tony Visit Tone, and I'm here with my post-Raw video recap. And my God, was this show a major step down from last week. For a go-home show for a pay-per-view, they did a really piss-poor job in getting people to want to see this show. They really didn't do shit to hype this show up. I mean, I thought they did a better job last week than they did last night. Major step down for a go home show. They really didn't do a whole hell of a lot to hype the pay per view at all. With that in mind, we'll just get right into it. The show kicks off with Triple H walking into the building. He's got his arm in a cast, and then he bumps into Johnny Ace, and Laurinaitis tells him that it was painful to watch Brock break his arm, and then he wants Triple H to know that he's got his support and blah blah blah. And then Triple H just stares at him and then Ace asks him if he's going to say anything. Triple H says he'll say what's on his mind in the ring, and then he says he sarcastically wishes Johnny Ace good luck with his match with Cena at Over the Limit on Sunday. So then, time to play the game. Triple H comes out, his arm in a sling, completely ignoring the fact that his arm was broken by Brock Lesnar a couple of weeks ago. But he says that it wasn't the physical beating about Lesnar that bothers him. He said he's offended about Brock needing to bring a legitimacy back to WWE, and he was saying that the next night how Brock. He was just saying how Brock's arrogance and stupidity offends him, and offends. He listed all the Undertaker, Bob Backlund, The Rock, Steve Austin, Randy Savage, Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and Bruno Sammartino, and so on. And so he said that he's also offended as a fan, and he says that as being a part of the WWE universe, he'll always be a part of that, and Brock offends him. And he also admits that he was slightly embarrassed, not because the 300-pound guy like Lesnar attacked him, but because he brought into the same crap that Brock spieled to them 10 years ago. So and then they just went on to the whole real life situation of with Lesnar. It's like when the fight when things didn't go his way in WWE. In UFC, and then he just quit, and now he's back here, and then he returned to WWE to take out Cena, and he couldn't get that done, so he quit again. And he was saying that Cena reached deep inside himself and beat Lesnar because he never quit, and he said that Brock talks about Lesnar making all the demands in that verbal contract with Johnny Laurinaitis a couple weeks ago, and he said that he was told Triple H said he told him no, and Hunter says once again Brock didn't get his way. He walked out, he took his ball and went home. So then Paul Heyman and a lawyer guy come out to Brock Lesnar's music, and Heyman tells Triple H that he lost his biggest star, and that as a businessman he really screwed up. He said that when he tore up Brock Lesnar's contract, he illegally tore it, and that ripping it up was a breach of it. So then he says that then Heyman's lawyer hands Triple H a letter, and Heyman tells him, "You're being served," saying Brock Lesnar is suing Triple H and WWE, what have you. And then he was saying that Brock expected a fight from Triple H or whatever, and he didn't get it, and he was rambling on a little more, and then Triple H just knocked the mic out of his hands and put his hand on Heyman's face like this, and Heyman was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then Triple H he finally he backs off, and then he tells Heyman that Brock Lesnar is going to get everything he deserves. So then as Hunter's heading up the ramp, Heyman says more, and he says that Triple H messed up again. Because he said now because Hunter put his hands on Paul Heyman he now has 2 lawsuits on his hands. So he says he'll see Triple H in court. This is being done because it's like the whole. I'm not I don't know the details of it, but when Brock left in 2004, he sued WWE or something, and I don't know what happened, but it's like in Vince's mind, Vince himself didn't beat Brock, so now they gotta do this storyline where Brock's suing them, and Vince is gonna beat him because Vinnie Mac always has to come out on top. Whatever, it's just like but overall, I thought the promo was okay. I thought Triple H did a good job, and I thought Heyman saved the segment. That was pretty much it. I got it's like last night's edition of Raw was pretty much like watching Nitro back in 2000. It was just like everything that WCW did wrong back then that they're doing now too. It's like they're treating the pay-per-view as just secondary, or not even that. It's just like it's like if the pay-per-views don't matter to the company at all, why the fuck do they have them once a month, or sometimes twice in the same month, and they expect people to shell out $45 or $55 for all these? Sorry, WWE, no fucking chance that's happening for me. I am not getting this. I'm not getting this pay-per-view. I mean, not that I was going to get it in the first place, but no fucking way am I going to even want to bother to throw away $45 on it now. Speaking of not doing the goddamn thing to hype up the pay-per-view, we get a tag match with CM Punk teaming with the comedy jobber Santino Marella, taking on Daniel Bryan and Cody Rhodes. Just from as far as it being a match itself, it was a good match, but it really didn't do a fucking thing to help elevate the Punk Daniel Bryan storyline. Santino did a supposedly funny spot where he was going to do the dive for the tag, and he missed, and he landed face first on the mat, and then eventually tagged Punk in, and Daniel Bryan kind of walked out, and then Punk pinned Cody with the GTS. And like I say, for a match it was good, but to hype up the Punk Daniel Bryan match, it didn't do shit. It was just fucking bad. Because it's just like, it's like these are two guys who were from Ring of Honor, and it's like they had great matches there, and, it's just like, they can really play off of that so well, and it's like and they're just doing the whole we make movies crap, or whatever. Then we get to meaninglessness, not that much of the show had any meaning at all, but we had Alicia Fox and Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix just squashed her. Layla watched from the stage, and then after Beth squashed Alicia, got the pin. She pounded on Alicia some more. Then Layla hit the ring, gave Beth a face plant on the canvas, and then Beth ran off. Okay, whatever. I didn't really do much either. Then they show a video package of John Cena doing the Make-A-Wish grants, and I'm say what you will about Cena as Cena the character, but Cena the guy I really think is really something. He really goes out of his way to grant all these wishes for his Make-A-Wish kids whose dream it is to meet him, and he makes it happen for them. The guy really does do a lot, and I think John Cena the person is a good guy. It's the hokey cartoon character. It's the character that makes people turn off to him. But anyway, so then after that, and plus Cena's going through, he filed for divorce, and he's going through that right now. So they're really trying to make him like the squeaky clean, 60s Super Friends hero type of character or whatever. Again, I don't know why in God's name they feel the need to make Cena this kiddie hero. But anyway. So then we have Johnny Ace and the returning David Otunga, bow tie, sweater, and coffee mug and all, coming out to ringside to watch the next match, Big Show Kane. So Big Show Kane next. Not much at all. Johnny Ace got the mic during the match and told Big Show he wanted an apology right now. Show had his back turned to Kane. Then that led, Kane took advantage, got the choke slam. 1, 2, 3. Kane won the match. Okay. Then Johnny Ace and Coffee Man Otunga get in the ring, and Johnny tells Show that to talk to him like a man. He said that he talks about how Show mocked his voice last week and everything, and he said he's not going to take it. He says he wants an apology, and it better be a good one, or he's going to give him the axe. Then Big Show says that when 18 years ago, when he was, he went to WCW when he was 23, and he said he's been in wrestling for 18 years, and he said, there's a part of him that can walk away with his head held high, but he really, he loves what he does. He loves performing for the fans, seeing the smiles on the kids' faces and everything, and he talks about all the friendships and the bonds he's made in the back over the years. I know. So he asked Johnny, it's like, he begged him, which is what Johnny wanted him to do anyway. It's like he asked him, he pleaded with him not to erase 18 years of his life over something petty. And he said, like Johnny can fine him, or, not grant him another title match ever again. But he said, that if Laurinaitis has any ounce of decency, he'll let him do what he loves. And then Laurinaitis says that he never heard Big Show say that he was sorry. Show said that he was sorry, and Laurinaitis said that the fans in the back, like in the nosebleed seats or whatever, didn't hear it. So Show says he's sorry again. Then Johnny Ace says, okay, now you said it, but now you're going to have to prove it. And he tells Show to drop to his knees and beg him. And then Show is over there crying and doing a great job of selling this whole thing, and debating what to do. A few times he hints dropping to his knees and everything. And then he's all torn about that. And he doesn't get on his knees at first, but he says he tells Laurinaitis that he'll beg. He says again that he's sorry and asks Johnny Ace not to make him get on his knees. And then Laurinaitis says the Big Show discuss him and that kind of stuff. And then he says that he doesn't care about the fans or the show. He does what's right for business and does all that people power bullshit. Whatever, Then, and he tells Big Show that he'll reconsider. So as Laurinaitis and Otunga head up the ramp, Ace just says to himself, "Oh, hey, Show, I've reconsidered." And then, was about to, he was about to give Big Show the axe. So Show told him to wait. And then Show dropped to his knees, was saying he was sorry again, and did all that stuff. And then, he says he apologizes, he's sorry. He's over there blubbering, crying away. And Ace says, you're sorry for what? And then Show says, I apologize for mocking your voice. I won't do it again. Blah, blah. And then they ask Johnny Ace, are you happy now? And then they say, no, I'm not. And then he wishes Show the best in his future endeavors. And he says, Big Show, you're fired. Horrible segment. Big Show was great in his delivery and in selling the thing, but it was just so. This whole, Johnny Ace becoming, becoming the modern day Mr. McMahon or Eric Bischoff from the WCW days. It just does nothing. It's just so motherfucking bad. It's so stupid. I mean, Johnny Ace is just. The guy has nothing. He's not a good, the character is fucking stupid. So that was a crappy ass segment. Spoiler alert here though, that I did hear, the plan now obviously is now that Big Show has been fired. There was something that happened later on at the end of the show, but there's a plan, the plan is, and I'm not liking this, but they're gonna turn Big Show heel and I think make him subservient to Johnny Ace. So after we get that really heavy tragic segment, what do we get next? Brutus Clay and the Funky Doctors! And they're over there doing their stupid ass dance and shit and everything. It's like, cause nothing says, it's like, oh yeah, Big Show, it's like, yeah, we feel sorry for Big Show. Nothing says we feel sorry for Big Show. They're like having having Flash Funk 2012 come out with the goddamn Funkettes and doing this shit. Come on. So then we go to six-man tag, Brutus Clay, Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, taking on Miz, Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger. Match was alright, it wasn't really much, it was okay for what it was. At least Brutus was, it was in a six-man and it wasn't just like a 1-minute squash. But, Kofi hit the Triple Paradise on Miz, then Brutus, big splash Miz, pins Miz, and that was it. They showed the AW stable watching from the skybox. And they're focusing more on, it's like how Mason Ryan is now part of the stable or whatever. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Moving on now. We get CM Punk and Alex Riley are backstage. And one said to the other, it's like, don't forget the 50 only. I don't know what the hell he meant by that. So then AJ comes by. Alex Riley walks off the camera, And AJ's like all like nervous, it's like she's just like met like her it's like someone that she's a huge fan of or whatever, and she's just like, oh, she wants to wish Punk for luck on Sunday against Daniel Bryan. And Punk says that he doesn't want to have anything to do with what's going on with Daniel Bryan and AJ. And he says that that he's known Daniel Bryan for years, and he says that he can't be trusted. And he said that like he hasn't known AJ that as long as he's known Daniel. But he says that it's like from what he knows, from what he's seen of her, that she's kind of unstable. And then he walks off, and she's got this it's like this like psychotic, it's like this kind of like troubled psychotic look on her face. She's like I mean, we'll see what happens. I also heard that the plan, another spoiler alert, the plan is to put the belt on Daniel Bryan on Sunday. So, I don't know, so AJ's probably going to get involved and do something. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do, but we'll see what happens. So, then we get Sheamus comes out to do commentary for our next match, which is Randy Orton versus Chris Jericho. Match was alright, but the finish was kind of, what happened was, Jericho, Sheamus took his headset off, and then during the match, and then Sheamus got hit. Jericho threw Orton into Sheamus as he was sitting at the announce table. Then, as Orton was about to RKO, set up Jericho for an RKO or whatever, for some stupid ass reason, Sheamus yanks Jericho out of the ring, gets Orton DQ'd. So Jericho wins the match by DQ. Then afterwards, Sheamus and Orton argue again, outside the ring. Then they get in the ring like they're gonna go at it, but the referees come in to break it up. I mean, the match was good, and it's like I get them not wanting to have a clean finish since they're gonna be in the world title match. But it was just like it's like, why the hell would you have Sheamus yank Jericho out of the ring and just it's like almost cost Orton the match. It's just like it's like I see that. I don't know, it just didn't make any sense. And also, it's like Sheamus' arm is still taped up, and it's like they haven't really made any. They haven't even acknowledged that. And when the hell was Alberto Del Rio tonight? They said he wasn't there. So, I mean, I thought the Sheamus and Orton, having their verbal argument, their argument or whatever was good. Was good. And Jericho was good at doing the whole. It's like he kind of was kind of stirring the pot there. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's. I guess I have mixed feelings about that one. So then Michael Cole announced that Eve tweeted that since Sheamus and Orton almost had a blow up, they're going to face each other on SmackDown Friday or tonight when they tape the show. So then we get the dreadful closing main event segment. Johnny Ace comes out and he says that he's sorry that everyone in the building is a Cena fan. That Cena is all the fans' favorite superstars because that makes them all losers. And he calls Cena a loser because of the last two pay-per-view matches he had. He lost to The Rock. He beat Brock Lesnar, but he came out banged up from it or whatever. And then Laurinaitis says that he himself is better than Rock and Lesnar combined. Bullshit on that one. And he says that he'll beat Cena over the limit. And then he says, it's okay that you're all losers, because if it were for losers like the fans, there wouldn't be any winners like him. Then, and John Cena is left arm out of the sling, miraculously healed. Super Cena hits the scene. And then he smells Johnny Ace and says, oh man, you got that stinky cologne, desperation is a stinky cologne there, dude, or whatever, and then he does his usual funny man cartoon, wisecrack, joke machine, superhero shtick, he's mimicking his voice, and he's saying, it's like, oh, wait a minute, you're going to fire me now that I mimic your voice, Johnny, or whatever. And then it's, it's like, he makes light of the whole segment earlier of Johnny Ace giving Big Show the axe. It's like, oh yeah, you fired the Big Show, this and that, and then he runs down, he rags on Johnny Ace or whatever, and says, yeah, WrestleMania, your team won, but you didn't do anything. And he said, you also wanted Punk not to be WWE champion, he still is. You wanted Brock Lesnar, you brought Brock Lesnar in to try to take me out, that didn't work either. So hey Johnny, you know what, you're a loser too. And it was, oh my God. And then he just kept saying, woo, to Johnny Ace. Every time Laurinaitis tried to say something, he went, woo. I mean, he sounded like a fucking chick. He was like, Shut the fuck up, the cartoon. And he says that Ace will be a loser at Over the Limit 2. So then Cena mentions that Johnny Ace has stepped on everyone and that he should change the name of People Power to Person Power because all that matters to Johnny is Johnny. And then he does more of his cartoon funny man bit. He asks the fans how bad they want to pummel Johnny Ace. They cheer that. And then Cena says that Ace has no idea, no concept of reality. I get this, they're saying no idea what the fans want. And as we all know, Vince doesn't have a fucking clue either. So then he says that he can't think of a better place to give Johnny a wake-up call than right here in Pittsburgh. Okay, when did John Cena become Mick Foley? So then he says, he talks about how he'll destroy Johnny Ace at Over the Limit, and he says that the whole thing about the Pittsburgh Penguins or whatever, and then he'll say, Johnny Ace goes like, oh, he wants to say something about the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Ace says the Penguins are losers, and then, this was terrible, Cena says, some of the Penguins in the front row tonight or whatever. Cena takes a hockey puck out of his shorts or whatever, out of his jean shorts or whatever, and then he tells Johnny Ace to go puff himself. Oh, that was horrendous. Cheesy line. And then Johnny said, Johnny Laurinaitis says that he's Big Johnny, and he says that he's taller and better looking than Cena, and he knows that Cena's bothered by that. And then he says that as the GM, he can do whatever he wants with the match. He can make the stipulation, he can do this, he can do that. Then Eve comes out, all like worried about something, and hands Johnny a sheet of paper, and then Cena snatches it and also rips it. And the note is from the board of directors. And then the note is about the whole Cena Ace match at Over the Limit. So Cena reads it, and he says that the match, the John Cena, John Laurinaitis match at Over the Limit, will be one-on-one, there'll be no guest referee, there'll be no one on the ringside, the only way to win is by pinfall or submission, and says that any superstar who gets involved in the match will be given the axe. Now that means that since Big Show was already fired, he's going to get involved and help Johnny Ace win, which would make no sense. I mean, it's like you think, because the next part of it is if Johnny Ace loses, he will be officially, immediately terminated and no longer the GM of anything. So, so you'd think, it's like if you think Big Show would, you think they'd have Big Show come in and, since he's already fired, maybe, they'd have him, like, whatever, it's like have Cena win and then Big Show get his job back instead of making Big Show go heel and be subservient to Johnny Ace, but I think that's where they're going with this. So then Cena mentions that Johnny Ace had a major announcement. He asked him what it was, and then Laurinaitis just smacks him in the face. And then he walks to the back. Cena stares, just stares at the stage, is walking up, and that's the end of the show. This was typical Cena idiocy. It was just, it's like I said, I don't know why they feel the need to have this, Cena be this over-the-top kitty cartoon wisecracking joke machine funny man heel character. This is, like I said, this is what turns fans against Cena. So, like I said, overall, the show was a major step backwards from last week and didn't do anything much to hype the pay-per-view this Sunday at all. Like I say, Heyman saved the opening promo, the closing segment was god-awful, and the rest of the show didn't really do much of anything. So that'll pretty much do it. I don't think I'll be watching Over the Limit. I'll be reading live coverage of that. But and it's also like I'm saying, it's like there were some shows this past weekend. Evolve had their shows on Friday and Saturday in North Carolina. They barely drew 200 people. Ring of Honor had a show on Saturday, and despite their technical issues and everything, they had a good show. TNA had a good pay-per-view on Sunday, Sacrifice, and it's like they don't have as many viewers as the WWE does, and yet their product was better than what WWE put on last night. What are we gonna do? So anyway, I guess that'll do it for me right now. I'll be back on Friday with a post-Impact recap. Hopefully I won't be going on as big a rant as I did here. So until then, next time, till Friday, this is Tony Viz, the Tone, and I'll talk to you all on Friday. Take care, folks.